to a new mobile phone network can be modeled using the function n equals AEBT. Now, just something I want to address about. See that T in the brackets beside it? All that means is it depends on time. So technically, you don't actually need that T there. You'll get used to that language when there's functions. So do you get that? You're not putting any values into this bracket. It just actually, this is the equation here, essentially. And it's always like that. If I gave you f of x equals x squared plus 3, and I ask you to sub in x equals 1, all you generally do is go 1 squared plus 3, and you don't sub it in the other side. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so that's a mistake that a lot of us made. I did what I could on the marking scheme to award as much marks as we could. So the thing you got to remember is it says that you start off on when your t value is 0, your n value is 8,500. Is that okay? So here's what you need to do. You replace n with what, guys? N gets replaced with 100. A stays as A. E. What's b to the power of 0? So do you see this whole thing here? This whole thing here is e to the power of 0. And what's anything to the power of 0? So is everybody happy that 8,500 therefore has to equal A? A couple of very lucky people here who just guessed A was 8,500. Got 5 out of 10 for that. Okay? A lot of lucky people here. Now, next thing. Yes. Most just knew by the description of the question. Now, next thing. Let's figure out after 4 months later. So your formula now becomes n equals 8,500 e to the bt. What's your t value now? 4, yeah? And what's your n value? 22,500. Not 89,000, because some of you multiplied it by 4. Okay? So what we get here, guys? 22,500 equals 8,500 e to the 4b. H, where's H? His name begins with H. Oh, there he is. Here. What do I do with the 8,500? You do divide it, don't you? Yeah. What did you do? Good job. Now, right, ready? So multiplication on one side is divide on the other side. Right, H1 people. Now, what are we doing next? How do I get the power? How do I get the variable out of the power position? Any log if you're choosing. I'm going to choose ln. Why do I choose ln? Yeah, it's e, so it'll make things easy. You bring the 4b to the front. And it's 4b ln e. But what do we all know ln e is when we put in the calculator? It's 1. Okay, we're very close to getting this answer now. 8,500. Now, what am I going to do with the 4? Huh? Divide it. All over. And all over what the number 4, isn't it? Into the calculator with it, and what do we get as the answer? 0.2434. Okay. Now, guys, would everybody agree that the formula is now 8,500? A. Oh, sorry. A's gone, isn't it? So it's E. And what's B? 0.2434 to the power of T. Now, 1 year is how many months? 12. Some of you broke my heart. I was like, yes, look at this. He's going to get it right. 2434. He's going to put in the 12. And then you just walked away and did nothing. Just put into the calculator. That's all you have to do. Okay. E. 0.2434. power 12. Answer 157.727. We all good? Okay. Now, next question. Okay. After how many months will we have 45,550 people? Now, guys, look at this. I'm going to have complete control over this question. Let me show you how. Ready? Table function, 8,500 people. E to the 0.2434 power x. Start at 0, end at A, go up in ones. When does it cross the 40,000 mark, 45,000 mark? In between 6 and 7. Everybody see that? 6 is 36,000 and 7 is. So I am going to. So we're going to do the usual trick. What am I going to replace n with? 45,550. What are we going to do with that 8,500, Hamim? Yes, we are. We're going to do that tomorrow as well. Now, then what we're going to do once we have the E and the power on its own, we're going to ln both sides. That will get the power, the letter out of the power position. We bring the power to the front, and what do we get? 0.2434 T. Now, anybody have an ask yet? Any asks going on? No. Okay. What do we divide it by now, lads? 0.2434. I think when you throw that into your calculator, it will become what? We got 6.9. Yeah. All right. Now, this is standard inequality question with a variable on the bottom. The technique is to multiply both sides by a number that's guaranteed to be positive. So example is, if 5 is smaller than 7, if I multiply both sides by a guaranteed positive number, let's say 3, 15 is still smaller than 20. See the way we don't have to worry about reversing sides? But here's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply both sides by the square of the denominator. So what happens up here? X plus 1. And what happens on the other side? 5 over 3. And what else? Plus 1. Now, just while we're here, if I had something like this as an example, if I had 1 is smaller than 5 over 3. See that? See the way that 3 is a guaranteed positive number? What happens if I multiply both sides by 3? What will happen? 3 is less than 5. So you're allowed to bring that 3 up and multiply it if you want. So what do you think I should do with this 3 here? What would be a good idea to do with it? Bring it up here. And just no fractions. Don't want to deal with them. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, yeah. Now, what happens to the x plus 1 and this x plus 1 squared? Okay, cancel culture. And then what we're going to do now? Multiplying by 3 and we got 9x minus 3. And then we're going to multiply that by the x plus 1. And I'm going to get 9x squared plus 9x minus 3x minus 3. Less than or equal to. Now what's x plus 1 squared? X squared plus 2x plus, multiply that by 5. We all good? Yes. Yes. It will be. Easy, boy, easy. Gets 190 and I'm not fast enough for him anymore. Now, okay, guys, so what do we get now? 9x squared, take away 5x squared. 4x squared. That's 6x, and then bring over to 10x minus 4x, and minus 3 minus 5 minus 8 less than or equal to 0. Divide both sides by 4. X squared minus 1x minus 2 less than or equal to 0. Now, who got 8 out of 10 but didn't draw the U-shaped function? Oh, gents, this diagram here is a U-shaped function. Everybody cool with that? Now, where the U-shaped function hits, I do not know. I don't know if they're both negative. I don't know if it's one negative or one positive. I don't know where to put it. But if I solve this, see that quadratic equation? If I solve that, I'll figure it out quite quickly. Beautiful. This is beautiful, that was. All right. Now, who got x minus 2 and x plus 1 equal to 0? An answer of 2 and minus 1, yeah? Now, check this out. It has to be, what is the inequality? Has to be smaller. So we set the intercepts, don't we? What are the two intercepts we just found out? That's minus 1. And what's the other one? Minus 1 and 2. Am I shading above the axis or below the axis? So does everybody say in between minus 1 and 2? Okay. So that means minus 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. Do I get full marks for that? Why? Something happens. Look at the fine print. What's that fine print say? Can't be equal to minus 1. So what does that mean? I have to adjust. Yeah, I was very proud of how many people spotted that. Tons of you actually spotted that and made sure that it worked out. Fair play. See the way he said it? Can't be equal. Okay. Now, this one, lads. You all did pretty good in this one. Pretty happy. Now, okay. Common denominator, okay, everybody? What you reckon? Why don't we do a 3x up here and a 3x down? Here? What about here then? A 3 on the bottom and a 3 on? And then an x on the bottom and an x on? And we're going to get 3x squared plus 3 equals 10x. Then what happens? 3x squared minus 10x plus 3 equals 0. You can use the minus b formula or whatever you want, but I think I'm going to do a bit on the shorthand way here today. Everybody happy with those two factors? H1, so I hope you'll get there eventually, okay? And then what are the two answers? 3 and 3x minus 1 equals 0, 3x equals 1, and x equals a third. Is that okay with you guys? Now, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab this. Okay, just going to grab this picture here. I'm going to bring it down here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this here now. Okay, you see this picture I have on the current page, this picture here? I'm going to bring this with me, and you'll see why I'm going to bring it with me in a second. Okay, so what's the similarities with the question? It says use your answers above. So use part 1 to answer part 2. What's the similarities between the question we just did and the question they have? Instead of x, what do they have? It's exactly the same, isn't it? Instead of x, they have 9 to the power of x. The 1, the 10, and the 3 are all the same, aren't they? In the exact same positions. So what we're saying is that x equals 9 to the power of x. And 9 to the power of x in turn equals what? What's the answer for x? One of them's 3. And the other one is minus. Is a minus a third? Yeah, it was minus a third. Is that all right? Was it plus a third? Oh, sorry, plus a third, my fault. Two ways of doing this. Two ways of doing it. You could log both sides, couldn't you? That's one way of doing it. You could do any log if you're choosing. You could do log 9 to the power of x equals log 3, couldn't you? Bring the x to the front. What you get, x log 9 equals log 3. And then you can just do x equals log 3 divided by log 9. And what is log 3 divided by log 9? Is that half? You can do it that way. There's another quicker way of doing it. Anybody know the quicker way of doing it? I'll show you another way of doing it, right? So that's the log way of doing it, which will work for both of them. Okay. In fact, the second question, instead of 3, what do you have instead of 3? So it'd actually be log 1/3 divided by. What's log 1/3 divided by log 9? Minus a half, is it? Okay. So you can get both answers that way. What's the quicker way of doing it? Anybody remember? Replace 9 with 3 squared. So actually 9 to the power of x is actually 3 squared to the power of x. And that's 3 to the power of 1. 2x equals 1. X equals a half. What about this one here? 3 to the power of 2x. What's a third? Third is 3 to the power of. And then 2x equals minus 1 and x equals minus a half. And there's two different ways of doing the same question. You all good? Now, once again, you're going to grab this down with me. You're going to bring it down to the next question. It says hence or otherwise, so that's your choice to make. Now, who remembers to change a base rule? Anybody remember to change a base rule? For argument's sake, what could log 8 base 2 be written as? Be written as log 8. Any base you want, pick a random base. 3, no worries. And then on the bottom, log. Any base you want, same two numbers. You get what I'm saying? Now, using the same logic, what could I turn log x base 3 base x into? Okay? Think about it. We could do with 3 as a base, couldn't we? So what could I turn that into? Log 3 base 3 over log 3 base. And what's 3 base 3? 1. So you've effectively changed your question into. Oh, yes. Sorry. I got the bottom mixed up, didn't I? The bottom should be x base 3. Yeah, thanks for that. So log x base 3. Now, what you noticing about the question this time? What's the similarities? Yeah, instead of instead of x, what are we going to have? Instead of x, we have this, and the other numbers are exactly the same. So we can replace x with log x base 3, and the answer is 3. And what's the other one? Log x base 3 equals a third. Now, how'd you do this last part now? How'd you put it back into index form? All right, so for those of you that don't remember, what's log 8 base 2, anybody? How many 2's do you need to multiply to make 8? 3. And you can change that into 8 equals 2 to the power of 3. See the way the 2 comes up and kicks the 3 to the power? What do you think the next line should read here? X equals 3 to the power of 3. And what about this one? 3 to the power of a third. Am I right in 27? Is that 1.44 for the other one? Is it rounded to 2 decimal places? Oh. Yeah, just 1.44. Right. We all good? Simply put, square both sides. All right. Square both sides. And you get x plus 2 by another x plus 2. And you also get x minus 13 by another x minus 13. And long story short, you're going to get x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals x squared minus 26x plus 169. To the x squareds. They're gone, aren't they? Now, or at the front. When you whip that minus 26 over. So plus 26x plus 4x. 30x, there we go. Now, bring that 164 over to the 169 and take it away. Then divide 165 by 30. What you get? 5.5. Now, this question we just did a second ago, it's very similar to the next question, hence the word hence. So what we could do is we can compare the two of these to each other. And what is essentially the trade-off? X equals 3 to the power of y. Before I do this question, I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of what significant figures means. You ready for this? Okay. 45,000. How many significant figures are there? 2. The zeros at the end do not count. 45,001. How many significant figures here this time? 5. Because zeros sandwiched in between two numbers actually count. Next one. How many significant figures in 1.009? 1 significant figure. How many significant figures in 1.109? 3 significant figures. How many significant figures in 2.109? 4 significant figures. Okay? So just to let you, that's just a bit of significant figure revision, okay? Now, here we go. We all agree that 3 to the power of y equals 5.5. Okay, I think we'll log both sides, will we? Any log if you're choosing? Some people use base 3, do you? You can use base 3 if you want. I log base 3. Why did really smart people want me to use base 3? What happens when you bring the y to the front? It'd be log 3 base 3, which is plus 1, isn't it? And it's actually faster in the calculator. Doesn't make a difference though, but it's faster. And what's log 5.5 base 3? 1.55. And 1.55 has how many significant figures? 1, 2, 3. No, now we got good stuff. Oh, look at this. Now, let's do a quick trip down memory lane. Okay, you ready for this? Quick trip down memory lane. X squared, for argument's sake, minus 4x plus 1 for argument's sake. All right. I want you to analyze. See this one I gave you here. See this formula. I want you to tell me, does it have no roots, which mean the green line? 2 roots, which means no roots is the blue line. 2 roots is the green line. And 1 root would be the what? 1 root would be the red line. You agreed? You see that? Okay. Now, how do I figure out what type of roots it has? What's the A value? 1. The B value? C value? Sub it in, what do I get? Minus 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 4. And what's the general rule for this? If it's less than 0, it's 4 times 1 times 1. Sorry, I'm wrong. And what do we get? No. Is it not 16 take away 4? 12. 12 is bigger than 0. So which graph is it? Green. 2 real roots. If it equaled 0, what would it be? Red. Both roots are the same. And if it was less than 0, what would it be? The blue one, which means no roots. Now, we're clearly told that this one has what? This one has real roots. And real roots means bigger than or equal to. Look at that sound guy who put that in there. You know, now, here we go. Here's the deal. How'd you figure out what your A, B, and C value are? You gotta multiply it out first. Kx squared plus k take away 1. X squared plus, bring everything to one side. Kx squared take away x squared. What comes next usually? X squareds come first, and what comes next? 6x comes second, and what comes last? The numbers, don't they? K minus 1 equals 0. Now what can I adjust this to? K minus 1 times x squared. Ever see that? What's your A value? Your A value, lads? Your B value? Minus 6. Your C value? We go. Let's put it into here, and what do we get? Minus 6 squared minus 4 times k minus 1 by another k minus 1 greater than or equal to 0. Now we're going to multiply all this out. 36 minus 4 times k squared minus 2k plus 1 greater than or equal to 0. A lot of very sympathetic 4 out 10s came in this question. Now, yeah. Huh? We all good? Okay. Plus 32. Now, lads, what happens when I multiply both sides by minus? It does flip the inequality sign. And what I'm going to flip the inequality, I'm going to multiply both sides by minus, and I'm also going to divide by 4 at the same time. Is that okay? So technically, I'm multiplying both sides by minus a quarter. It's flipping the inequality sign and dividing by 4. All right? K squared minus 2k, and what's that then? Minus a, less than or equal to 0. Okay, it's a graph, and my deal is I don't know where it crosses. I don't know if it crosses both on the left, does it cross both on the right? I don't know. So I'm going to solve it. So I'm going to solve it. What you reckon? K minus 4 and k plus 2. K equals? And k equals? So are you happy that that's 4? And that's minus 2. Shh. What does the inequality sign want from me? What does it want from me? What's it want? The yellow sign says smaller than 0. Under. Wants unders. So once in between those two sets. So what's the answer then? What's the answer, guys? Minus 2. K smaller than 4. Who got that? Ready? Lads, you ready? For 4 marks, use a log rule of your choice. Oh, I'm going to bring in the 2 to make it x squared. Now all of a sudden, oh, this must mean that x plus y is. Who got x plus y is x squared using the red equation? Is that right with you guys? Okay, next thing. All right. Next thing. I'm going to say that log y. Ever see log y? Log y And I'm going to use the addition rule. What's the addition rule of logs? Example, what's log 3 plus log 5? Log 15. You can just multiply them, can't you? So what's 2 times x minus 1? And then what can I say now? That y equals sickening, isn't it? And then look at this. This y here can be replaced by this here. And then what we're all going to say together now is that it's x plus 2x minus 2 equals x squared. And then you're going to whip it all over one side and you're going to get x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. Grid. Next thing we're going to do after that is we're going to solve this. And we're going to get x minus 2 and x minus 1 equals 0. And we're going to get x equals 2 and x equals 1. One of them has to be discounted. Which one? Why is 1 not allowed? Has to be bigger than 1. Bye-bye. Next, we're going to go back to our original formula over here. And we're going to say y equals 2 times 2. Take away 2. And that means y is also equal to 2. Now, the rule is that I don't know if a multiplied by b is positive or negative, do I? So I could give you a classic example. A could be 5 and b could be minus 3. And if you multiply one side by AB, you could be actually multiplying it by a negative number, couldn't you? So you have to be careful about stuff like that. Yep. No more autographs, okay? Now, here's what we're going to do. Common denominator on the left. You cool with that? So what's common denominator? Put an a squared here and an a squared here, and then on the other side, a b squared here and a. Who got a cubed plus b cubed all over a squared, b squared? We all good? Now, on the other side, I'm going to get common denominator as well. It's common denominator for the other side. Put an a here and an a here, a b here and a b here. That makes sense? Who got a b plus a all over ab? Anything crazy so far? Nothing crazy? Just common denominators both sides? Now, here's the part. September. What happens when you add two cubes together? Difference of two cubes, otherwise known as a plus b into a squared minus ab plus. Yeah. Yup. 7 up. Now. Shh. Okay, guys. Now, why am I allowed to cancel these off both sides? It's in the fine print. They're both positive. See that? They're both positive. What's the next line then? Now, what can I guarantee about the bottom number here as well? How do I know that that number is guaranteed positive? Yeah, a squared is positive and b squared is positive. So I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to move it up here, yeah? What are we going to have now? That'll be a 1 then, won't it? Because I cancelled the a plus b. And who got a squared plus b squared all over ab? Do a bit of cancelling here, and what do we have now? A squared divided by a. B squared divided by b. B. Does everybody see it now? Everybody see it? Bring the AB to the left, and what do we get? All right. Okay, back here. Bring it over to your sides. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared greater than equal to 0. Then what? A minus b Square gradient equals 0. Perfect square gradient equals 0.